Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through the noise to bring you the signal. Today we're jumping into something pretty fascinating, app development. Now, for ages, it's felt like this exclusive club, right? Silicon Valley types, coding geniuses. But the sources we looked at, they show something else. A really surprising truth, actually, how everyday innovators, maybe like you, are creating apps, not just creating them, but making real income. Sometimes like thousands a month. So this deep dive, it's about pulling back that curtain.
It really is, because the usual story you hear about apps, it's always the next big thing, the unicorn startup, the billion-dollar idea.
Yeah.
But what's so striking about the material we dug into is how it shines a light on this totally different angle. The power of small, really functional apps. These aren't trying to change the world overnight. They're just solving specific everyday headaches. And our mission today is really to pull out the key stuff, the actionable bits, so you can see how to tap into that hidden potential.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that common idea you mentioned. This whole notion that making an app means you have to be building the next Instagram or aiming for that billion-dollar valuation. That's super intimidating for most people, isn't it? It makes you think you need tons of cash, a massive team, crazy coding skills.
Right. And what's fascinating here is how our sources just completely flip that script. They argue the real focus shouldn't be on like massive scale right away, but on usefulness, accessibility. We're talking small apps that solve one problem really well. They might seem modest, but they make a real difference for users. And this is the key part, they generate solid income for the creators, often passive income. It gets overlooked because, well, the media loves the big splashy stories, right? The high-stakes stuff. But think about it, there's so many little niche problems out there, and the barrier to actually building something is way lower now. So you end up with this flow of revenue from lots of small solutions that, for one person, can actually be more realistic than chasing that one huge win, like
Right.
lots of small streams making a river.
That makes so much sense. So it's not always about a totally original, earth-shattering idea. It might just be doing a better job solving something people already struggle with.
Exactly.
Like a simple budgeting tool that's just easier to use, or language flashcards for your commute, or even just a habit tracker that keeps you honest. That these aren't, revolutionary concepts.
Yeah, at all.
But people actively look for them, they download them, they subscribe sometimes, they pay for that convenience.
Yeah, convenience is a huge driver.
Okay, now this next bit from the sources, honestly, it kind of blew me away. Because it tackles the biggest hurdle most people probably imagine, the actual building part. Like, you don't necessarily need to write code anymore, do you?
Nope, you absolutely don't. And that's maybe the biggest game changer for a lot of folks. The whole world around app development, it's matured incredibly. So now there's just tons of resources out there specifically designed to let you skip the traditional coding route.
Really? Like what?
Well, you can hire freelancers, for one, easy enough, or use these really powerful no-code or low-code platforms. Some even start with templates.
Okay, like specific ones?
Yeah, the sources mention platforms like Glide, which is great for turning, say, a spreadsheet into a simple app really fast.
Yeah.
Good for trackers or maybe an internal team tool. Then you have things like Adalo or Bubble. They let you build more complex stuff, web apps, mobile apps, maybe a bit more of a learning curve, but still no traditional coding.
Right.
The advice seems to be, pick the tool that fits how simple your first version needs to be. And like I said, if you'd rather just hand it off, freelance sites like Upwork or Fiverr, they're full of developers who can build it for you. So the main thing you need isn't tech wizardry. It's a solid idea and, crucially, really understanding what problem people actually want solved.
That's such a key shift. Focus on the problem, not the code. Okay, so you've got that spark, that idea for solving some little frustration. How do you actually, shape that into something real, something that could make money? Did the sources lay out like a clear path or steps?
They did, yeah. A pretty clear 4-step blueprint, actually. Step 1 is find a niche, which really just means tuning into those little everyday struggles, your own or ones you see around you.
Like those things that just niggle at you. Finding the TV remote or figuring out who owes what after dinner. Are those the kinds of things we're talking about?
Precisely. Those little annoyances that seem minor, but everyone kind of experiences them. Our sources gave good examples. Parents trying to keep track of chores and allowances.
Oh, yeah.
Students juggling revision timetables. Remote teams figuring out who's awake when across different time zones.
Okay.
All these common, maybe overlooked frustrations,
Right.
they're practically shouting for a simple app solution.
Got it. So you nail down that pain point. You know what you're solving. Then the sources say the next crucial step before you build anything is making sure people actually want it. Step 2, validate it.
Absolutely critical. Validation is key. Don't build in a vacuum. You can test the waters pretty easily, jump into relevant Reddit communities, ask in Facebook groups related to the problem.
Or just ask people you know.
Yeah, even a basic survey. But the real benchmark, according to the sources, if you can find, say, 20 people who genuinely react with, wow, yeah, I'd use that. Not just being polite, but real enthusiasm.
Okay.
That's your green light. That signals a real felt need. Much better than just guessing.
That's smart. Test before you invest time or money. So you've got the green light. Next is step 3, build it smart. What are the practical things here? Again, keep in mind we're trying to avoid getting tangled in complex code.
Right, so this loops back to those low-code tools. Glide, Adalo, Bubble. They let you build what's called an MVP, a minimum viable product, yourself, often.
Minimum viable product.
So just the basics.
Exactly. Just the core features that solve the main problem. Nothing fancy yet. The goal is speed. Get something out there quickly. Or, again, hire that developer from Upwork or Fiverr if DIY isn't your thing. But the core advice is keep it simple. Be super clear on the one main thing your app needs to do, and launch fast. Don't get stuck polishing it forever before anyone sees it. Launch fast, learn fast. Makes sense. Okay, and then step 4, the exciting one, monetize. How do these everyday apps actually bring in revenue?
Yeah, there are a few standard ways that work well for these kinds of utility apps. A really common one is freemium.
Freemium.
Yeah, offer a basic version for free, get lots of users, then offer a paid upgrade, maybe a subscription, for extra features or more power.
Okay.
That work well for building a user base first. Or for some really specific tools, maybe just a small one-time fee to buy the app works best. Simple and direct. Ads are also an option the sources mention, but they kind of cautioned against overdoing it with ads on these utility apps. It can ruin that convenience factor people are paying for.
Right, gets annoying fast.
Exactly. And what's really interesting, what the sources highlighted, is that some developers are making steady passive income from apps that only cost maybe a few $100s to get built initially.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not about getting rich overnight. It's about creating reliable income from smart, simple solutions.
So let's bring this back. What does all this mean for you listening? It means you should maybe rethink what app stores are. They're not just for games or the giant social media companies.
Yep.
They're open marketplaces. Really open to anyone with a good idea that solves a problem. It's kind of an invitation, isn't it, to look at your own daily frustrations differently. That thing that annoyed you this morning, that repetitive task you hate doing. What if that's not just annoying? What if it's actually an opportunity?
It absolutely could be. Any tedious task, any process you wish was smoother, any little daily friction point, that could be the seed for an app idea. It really is about shifting your perspective, seeing problems not just as hassles, but as clear signals for where a simple, neat digital solution could fit. The sources really hammer this home. The demand for these small, specific fixes is huge, and it's often totally underserved.
So wrapping this up, the big takeaway is app development isn't this walled-off garden anymore. It's actually a very accessible path for everyday people, everyday problem solvers, a way to generate real income, not necessarily by building the next huge platform, but by focusing on simple, useful solutions.
Yeah, and that maybe leaves you with an important question to think about. Just consider, how many small frustrations, little inefficiencies do you bump into every single day, maybe without even consciously registering them? And then think, what if someone else out there feels that exact same friction? And what if they'd happily pay a small amount for a simple, elegant app that just makes it to go away? Maybe you start observing your own day and the world around you through that lens. You might find you're sitting on a whole bunch of valuable ideas already.